Batteries are little bombs that you've placed through your entire set, and at any moment they can go off. But losing the shot isn't the worst thing that happened. The worst part is that it changes your brain. You've changed your mental focus from art to technical, and it takes an average of 23 minutes to switch your brain back into creating art after you've pulled it out. We all know this from getting interrupted with social media notifications. Most people think the solution is just to buy more batteries, but each time you change a battery, you start the countdown clock of the next bomb that'll go off in your production. In a simple setup, you can have 4 batteries that'll go off without warning. Now imagine a little bigger setup where you have 3 lights, 2 cameras, and 2 mics. That's 8 batteries that will run out without warning at all different times as you're shooting throughout the day. That is madness. I'm going to show you my battery systems, but they might not work for you. The most important thing you can do is spend some time designing your gear to remove the constant countdown from your creative process. I'm shooting a lot of corporate and government type interviews. Some are outside, some are inside. There's some walk and talks, and of course B-roll. So here's some systems that work for me. I'll warn you, I'm not a minimalist type shooter where I try to stuff everything into one little backpack. I bring quite a bit of gear when I go to a shoot. But here's some of the systems that work for me, and it's the principle that I really want you to pay attention to, even if you're trying to stuff everything into one little backpack. I use house AC power whenever I can. I make sure that I have all the attachments in my kit for this for every camera, every light, and every piece of audio gear. When I can't use venue power for cameras, I'll either use NPF power adapters or a power bank. I prefer these EcoFlow power banks because I can see the screen and the battery life from very far away. They sit nicely under a tripod and they don't take up any more floor space. Now, here's the principle that really matters, even if you're stuffing everything into a small camera bag. I use power banks that can easily last 50% longer than I need them to. So if I'm doing interviews all day in the morning and in the afternoon, I'll select a power bank for a camera that can last all day. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be worried about battery, so I'll change the battery at lunch, and then throughout the entire day, I'm never thinking about the battery other than when I do my lunch changeover. With action cameras, I'm typically doing kind of extended run times. 10 minutes will be short for me. I'm often putting action cameras on equipment and then letting them run for quite a while. They can run up to an hour or even longer. I'll use external batteries like these Ulanzi batteries, power banks, or NPF adapters, and I really prefer the NPF batteries that you can plug USB right into. Without question, I favor long run times over smaller camera payload. Most of the time, action cameras don't actually need to be as small as they are. That's super convenient, but making it 4 times bigger by adding a battery onto it is usually worth it for the way I shoot. With lighting, I'm either using natural light outdoors and shooting it in kind of a news style, or house AC power. But the occasional time that I decide I'm using lighting outdoors, I bring a very large power bank. Again, this is an EcoFlow power bank, and I'm typically only using a key light if I'm shooting with lighting outdoors. When it comes to audio, I use the Deity Theos. These take AA batteries, but they also can take an external charge, saving the internal batteries. I use external power right up until I need to give the talent the transmitter pack. When I take the pack back from the talent, I plug it into the power bank, change the batteries before giving it to the next person, and I'm never thinking about batteries while I'm recording. Additionally, I use an NPF battery on my field recorder, and I have a power bank for the receivers to get external power. And then with B-roll, I'm usually using my Nikon Z9, and batteries last a very long time. I do keep an extra one with me, but I'm shooting B-roll typically in short bursts. I've designed my gear kit and the way that I shoot to stop technical interference while I'm trying to make art, essentially, with interviews and other video. After I got rid of the stress of this constant battery countdown, I found that I could focus on interviews that I was doing far better and paying attention to things like, people putting a coffee cup down in the background when you weren't looking, and keeping an eye on the art as opposed to the technical. When you've ended the battery countdown in your video shoots, you might be interested in never worrying about your audio ever again. If that's the case, click here.